I'm joined here today by Geoff Neal, set to fight Niko Price in what's supposed to be a barn burner upcoming here on this UFC pay-per-view. Jeff, what's up, man? How are you?
Doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Thank you for asking. Appreciate you making the time because I assume you must be extremely busy in between training. I'm sure you have your full-time job as well. I mean, how crazy is your time right now?
I barely have any. Today is like my only time that I really have to myself, and I still had to wake up this morning and do strength and conditioning. But now I have a little bit of time to relax and chill and probably get some sleep.
Yeah, for sure. How is it for you having such a busy schedule? I mean, do you enjoy it, or is it kind of getting into a kind of a grind?
It's a grind, but I enjoy the grind. You know what I mean? I like being busy all the time, having something to do. You know what I mean? Whenever I don't have nothing to do, I just feel like I wasted a day. You know, I always have to be busy and working out, and I love it.
And so, how many times are you going to the gym, and how many hours are you doing at your job?
I cut back on my job. I'm doing like 25 to 30 on my job, and then the gym is pretty much 2 times a day every day.
Oh yeah, so that must be
So,
crazy.
what's up?
I'm saying that must be crazy. I mean, I assume the free time there's got to be like almost zero.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, but I'm used to it. It's gotten to the point where it's normal, so it's really just another day for me.
I mean, are you enjoying it, or is that's just what you're used to?
I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. I love to work. I'm a worker, so I pride myself in hard work.
All right, and we know we're getting closer to the fight. Currently, you're training, I assume, at Fortis, where all the great guys are. What's your camp starting to look like as you get closer to the fight?
Yesterday was probably today was my last hard day. It's been brutal like always. You know, training camps at Fortis are always hard. It's never easy. So now I'm going to start toning it down, working on more technical aspects of the game, and then get ready for this fight.
And at what point does your weight cut start getting important? I assume you've changed your diet. Maybe you started. I don't think water loading yet, but what are you sort of doing towards your weight cut?
Just just cutting back on eating too much. My weight cuts are relatively easy all the time, so I'm not too worried about it. But going into fight week on like Sunday, that's when the real weight cut will start.
And so, what do you do for nutrition? Are you working with a company? Do you have somebody that prepares your meals for you? Or what are you doing sort of for that?
Yeah. There's a company that works with the UFC, Lockhart. They get me squared away during fight week, bring the food to my hotel room and everything. They get me ready for the fight, and I trust them.
And so you are working at Fortis, and I think the main coach over there. How do you say his name? Is it Saif Saad? Am I saying that correctly?
Thanks, Saud.
Safe Saud, okay. He was saying that you guys have like this big plans for the gym. I think they're adding an upgrade, maybe a second one. What's sort of going on at that gym, upgrade wise?
Upgrade wise, he's opening up a pretty much like a performance institute. If you say there's going to be like a recovery place where you got a cryo and physical therapy. There's going to be a small gym. Or one of my sponsors and pretty much the team sponsor, Fit Meals Prep. They're going to have like a place where we can get healthy food and stuff like that. And there's also going to be a dorm for when fighters come from out of town to Dallas that they can stay in.
Oh man, that's huge. I mean, that's putting you guys right up there with ATT, Jackson Wink, and all those other camps. I mean, do you think people are finally seeing Fortis as big of a training camp as it really is?
Yeah, I think so. And we still have so much more to prove. Yeah, we have all this. I guess you could say hype and attention behind us, but we still got to go out there and produce. You know, we're just starting, and we have a lot more ground to cover, and we're going to cover it.
And I mean, it seems the mentality over there is great. I mean, you guys support each other. I was talking to Miles Johns about this the other day. I mean, even Rashad Coulter, every time you mention Fortis, he's retweeting everything on Twitter. What's the key to having such a great mentality and I guess chemistry in a gym like that?
It all starts with the leader. To be perfectly honest, Safe's a good leader, and he leads us the right way, and we follow behind him, and we're just a product of his leadership.
And so you are set to fight Niko Price in this one. I feel like it's been forever since we saw you. How did this fight come together? Have you known about it for a little bit, or did it kind of just spring up like that's kind of how it seemed to us on the outside?
It kind of sprung up. Mike Perry had said something on Twitter about which one of these welterweights want to catch these hands, and of course I chimed in. I'm like, "What? Want to fight? Let's do this." And then I guess Niko had been lobbying for the fight as well, and then I guess somebody seen that both me and Niko were trying to fight Mike Perry, and they were like, well, since Mike ain't trying to fight neither one of y'all, how about y'all fight? And then it just started with like a Twitter like thing, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'm down for it. And he said he's down for it. And then like a couple weeks later, I get a call saying they fight Niko Price. And I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of Twitter, the matchups everybody was putting up against Vicente Luque, like you mentioned, Mike Perry. Was it a little bit disappointing you got Niko, or is it just another fight for you and just kind of want to get back out there?
Not disappointing at all. Like, you know what I mean? I can't say it's one. Niko's a tough dude, you know, like, to be honest, I ain't gonna say it, but I feel like Mike Perry been an easier fight for me just because my reach and my strength. But Niko's a tougher fight in my opinion. But no, I wasn't disappointed at all. It's a tough fight. It's on pay-per-view. You really can't get any better than this. I have a chance to put my name out there.
And when Niko Price, when the name got brought up to you, I assume your manager, somebody called you up and mentioned the name. What was kind of the first thing that came to your mind when you started thinking of Niko as an opponent?
I just know, like, I knew it was going to be a great fight. There's going to be two dudes that are going to stand there in the middle of the cage and try to knock each other out. There's $50,000 going in somebody's pocket, and that's bottom line.
For sure. I'm sure you've been watching tape, or maybe your coaches or something. It seems you guys are both heavy hitters, have a good stand-up. What have you sort of seen out of this game, sort of matchup-wise? Have you seen anything you really like out there?
Matchup-wise, I have a speed advantage. That's obvious. But everything else you really can't tell from the tape because you just never know. Watching somebody fight and actually fighting them is two different things. And the only thing I really picked up from it is I do have a speed advantage. And, as long as I stay technical and keep my defense, then it should be a good night for me.
I know you mentioned that speed advantage. It seems like over these last couple of fights, we noticed sort of a more athletic advantage over these opponents. Is that something that you're noticing out in the cage?
Yeah, I've noticed that. And I know that going in that I will have like an athletic advantage. And for now, until I start getting the top 15, that's going to be my crutch. And then when I get in top 15, it's going to have to be more technical because a lot of guys in the top 15 are really athletic and they can match my speed too. So.
And last time we saw you was in January. I feel like it's been forever since we saw you fight. What's been going on? Are you injured? Are you not getting the opponents? What took so long?
Not injured. No clue what really took so long, but I just counted it as a blessing to be real. For the first part of it, I really wasn't stressing about getting the fight. It wasn't until that San Antonio part came up that I was like, hey, San Antonio, Texas, like this is the perfect time for me to fight. You know, like I've been on the back burner for a while, and I've just been training to get better. But I really want that San Antonio card. But I got the Canada one the week after, so it's really not a problem for me.
And did the UFC talk to you about San Antonio? I mean, did they realize that San Antonio it was just a 1 week difference?
The UFC doesn't talk to me directly. My manager, coach, Safe Saud, he handles all that, and I trust his judgment. I trust the process, and I don't question him. Whatever he says, and I trust him. I know he's gonna look out for my best interest, so he handles all that.
And I assume during these 6 months where you're not fighting, because I believe you're working full time, you must not be worried too much like some of these other fighters because you do have sort of that crutch to lay on. I mean, is that something you can sort of you agree with?
Talking about like my job, having that crutch?
Yeah, just not having to worry about, I need to fight 3-4 times a year because you know that you do have this job that you can fall back on.
Yeah. And to be real, that's like that crutch is not a good crutch because I do not want to have to serve tables just to make ends meet. You know what I mean? But yeah. I would love to fight 3 or 4 times a year, to be honest. But taking time off and getting better is always good. You don't want to rush and be like, I need to fight 5 times and fight everybody, like, cause that can be hell for your career, But it's good.
I mean, you do mention that you love working. It seems like you're one of the guys who does truly enjoy his job. But is there some sort of plan in the future, maybe when you start getting top 10 and stuff like that, where you're gonna have to start focusing on MMA full time? Or do you think there's something you can sort of continue juggling?
100%. I just want enough money in my bank account to be comfortable with taking time off. I probably won't quit fully. I probably work like 1 time a week or something like that. But the money's not forever, so gotta keep working.
And you mentioned you are fighting on pay-per-view. Last time I talked to you about fighting on a different platform was ESPN. You told me, well, you almost rather fight on Nickelodeon. Is that an exciting thing for you, fighting on pay-per-view? Is that something that you sort of take into account?
It is pretty exciting because it's gonna give me more exposure. You know what I mean? I still don't have the fans really behind me yet. Like people know who I am, but I'm really essentially like nobody in a lot of people's eyes. You know what I mean? And I want to make a statement July 27th.
For sure. And let's talk about your last fight. It was obviously a great performance against Bilal Muhammad, one that I'm sure was very helpful in sort of developing your career. How do you look back on your performance in that fight?
Say, my phone went off. What was the last part you said?
I said, how do you look back at that performance in that fight?
It was a decent performance by me. I did well defending the takedowns, and the best part about the fight is that Bilal is the type of fighter that takes you to the third round and wins out the decision. But I took him through the third round, and I won the decision. So I was pretty a little pat on myself, got myself in the back on that one. And that's about it.
And if I remember the fight correctly, because it was 6 months ago, but I believe that third round, Bilal was getting rocked. I mean, you guys were really going at it in that round. What's sort of going through your mind when sort of that chaos starts?
I love the chaos. I was trying to get the finish. I dropped him twice, but that dude is tough. Like most people wouldn't bounce back from a head kick like that. You know what I mean? They would curl up in the ball and just accept defeat. But Bilal's just one of those type of dudes. You have to knock him out cold. You can't just rock him and stun him. You know what I mean?
And people, they mentioned that beating Bilal is sort of in that gatekeeper role, where if you can beat him, you're considered legit. Did you notice sort of a difference in the way people saw you? I mean, even maybe on social media and stuff like that after that win over Bilal?
Yeah, there was a slight difference. I really don't like look at comments and stuff like that. That's just not my thing that I do. But I did notice some people like, oh, this dude Geoff for real, top 15. He needs a top 15 opponent. But that was pretty cool for people to say. But I didn't get a top 15. I got Niko Price, and I got to handle that problem.
And I know you're currently in Dallas, and you're a very busy man, but do you follow the NBA at all with everything that's going on in Texas?
No, I don't. I really don't.
Nothing. All right, so
What do you say?
no, I was saying nothing at all. I mean, we had Russell Westbrook go to Houston. I mean, Dallas making moves. Nothing at all for you. Never go watch an NBA game. Nothing.
Now, to be honest, that NBA stuff is annoying. Like every year, a player wants to go somewhere else. It's like, fuck, I don't care anymore. I just wish players would stay on their teams and try to make a legacy on that team instead of trying to make a super team everywhere across the U.S. It's really getting annoying to this point.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. At Dallas, you guys have a lot of sports. You have even a soccer team and everything. Do you follow any sports outside of MMA?
To be honest, I really don't. Tunnel vision right now.
Well, do you consider yourself an MMA fan? 'Cause I've heard. I think Robert Whitaker says he's not even a fan of MMA. He just kind of just does it.
I'm, if I wasn't fighting, I would be a fan 100%. But I'm a fighter, so I don't get to that fanatic aspect. The only division I really pay attention to when I look at cards is like the welterweight division. If there's a UFC card, and there's like two welterweights going at it that are top prospects, so I will always watch that fight just to get a gauge on their skills and my skills.
And this fight against Niko Price seems Niko always has a way of making these fights go a little bit crazy, sort of very back and forth. What kind of fight are you expecting out there? Are you expecting craziness? Are you expecting sort of a composured fight? What are you expecting?
To be honest, I never know people's game plans. Like, you know what I mean? Because like if I was fighting, like if I was him fighting me, I would have like a different game plan. Like I wouldn't go out there trying to create chaos. You know what I mean? Like because even though I've shown that I was technical, I can sit there in the pocket and bang with you too. But I don't know what to expect. You know what I mean? You always got to expect the unexpected. Whatever happens, happens, and I'll just go with the flow. Whatever comes at me.
And so let's say you beat Niko Price, continue on the streak that you're on. What does that win do for you? Does that put you top 15, top 10, get you a big fight? Well, what does this do for you in your career?
Yeah, you really never know what the win's gonna do for you. I think it's gonna put me in the top 15. I have a feeling it would, but we'll see what happens after that. You know, right now it's just getting this win, and then I'll look up and I'll look forward and see what's going on.
All right, so I have just one more for you, keeping in mind with this fight. What kind of outcome are you expecting in this one? How do you get your hand raised?
I'm gonna have to finish him. That's I don't. It might go 3 rounds, but I don't want a decision. I have to finish the guy.
All right, well, we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a great fight. It's going to be a crazy fight. Thanks so much for the time, Geoff. I really appreciate it.
Hey, thank you, man.